And welcome to this video. I just was watching, I've been sitting here all day working on this, and I was watching some other people's videos, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I should do something like that. Not necessarily like, oh, I should copy their ideas, but more of a, they have a good idea. It works for them. I think I will not necessarily copy that idea, but, go along with it and see how well it works for me. So we're playing some Trainz 2019, that's Trainz with a Z. And this is the Trainz series for the longest time has been by far one of my favorite train simulators. Even though if you guys watch me on Twitch or have seen some previous streams, you know that I play a lot of Run 8, but this is one that kind of just sits there under the radar because I really don't have much going on. But some of you also know for the past about 8 years, I have been building a 1-to-1 scale version of the CSX Saginaw subdivision. Or as I now call it, just the Saginaw subdivision, because CSX only, in modern times, CSX only runs as far as Plymouth now. Actually, I think they go up as far as Wixom, and I think Wixom is where they interchange now with Lake State. And then Lake State takes care of everything else. We're not going to get into the politics and the physics, the operations of all that. We're going to just talk a little bit about what's going on here. So I've been building it, and I had a really good version of it going, but there was a lot of things I just wasn't happy with. A lot of things that just didn't sit well with me. And I said, and I looked at it and went, the only way I can fix this is to start all over from scratch. So that's what I did about 3 years ago. I scrubbed everything that I have. I actually still have it all saved, just in case I ever want to play on that old version. But I now have a full version of it, full thing. The original version only went from Romulus to just north of Flint. This version, let's actually go to the map view. This is Saginaw. There's a lot of clutter here. We'll just zoom in a little bit. We got all the yards, all this here. I actually am going to flush out a lot of the area around it. I'm going to trim off some of these extra baseboards, like this along here on this side of the river. Just enough that, I can still operate, but not enough that I lose a ton of stuff. But we'll trim up some baseboards there. And then we go all the way down. This is what, this is Bridgeport right here. A little further down, we got Blackmar. That's I forgot what town that is. We keep going. Mount Morris right here. This is Birch Run over here. Mount Morris is up there. Or is this Mount Morris? I always get my towns confused. It's been a while. We keep going. We got and we have this. This is all, and everything's named and numbered properly. This is all. We got Coldwater Yard up here. And as best as I could tell, we got that McGrew Yard here. And I put the tracks in going this way towards the GM Auto Plant. I'm probably not going to put this in just because I'm not backdating the route far enough. Main line continues on. We got the interchange here with the CN Flint subdivision. Grand Trunk Flint division. Blah, blah, blah. Continue on. Atwater Yard here, which from what I can tell, there is an industry there, just from Google Maps. So I'm like, I'll put a couple cars there, put an industry there. You see, I've done a little bit of scenery. Let's actually go out on map view. I've done just a light little bit of scenery, just enough to kind of get an idea. Obviously, this is all still definitely work in progress. And then we have the GM frame plant here. Let's just... I just threw some buildings down to give it some flavor. The tracks there. This industry will, at least in this version of this, be operational. And we continue going down. And right about here is where I've also just put down like a base layer texture of ballast, but not everywhere, obviously. And we keep going down. And this is where I stopped. This is Holly. And I stopped right here at Maple Street. I haven't done anything else. And all really it is my plan right now is to get all the track in and get every single grade crossing working and in numerical order. So that way, if I give this route to a friend and the friend goes, "Hey, I had a problem with this grade crossing," I'm like, well, "Can you tell me what number it is?" And they can go and see exactly which number it is. So they're all in numeric order. I'm also numbering all the switches. This is the last one that I did. And then I kind of was like, I need to take a break and do something else for 5 minutes. So I figured I'd record a video real quick. And, this is as far as we've gotten so far. But this dem, we can zoom out, goes all the way down. Here's Wixom. In fact, I lost it. There it is. There's Wixom. This is Lincoln Yard. And then the auto plant. I will be putting the auto plant in here. I'm backdating this route to the early 2000s, late 90s. And I am going to put co-rail in, just because why not? Although co-rail, I think, only goes as far as here. Actually, I think they went... No, co-rail went as far as here. And then the tracks ended here. But I'm going to probably put tracks as though they were disused here. But it's all gone now, obviously. And then we keep going down. Here's Plymouth. And then the old version ended right about... I forget what yard this is. It ended right about here-ish. We got the Detroit Metro Airport there. That's going to be fun to build. And we keep going all the way down. This is one of the lines that goes off that way. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Was a yard there, isn't there? And then this right here. This is down in Ohio. It's near Toledo, Alexis, Ohio. This is where it ends. So let's actually get back to the cab of our locomotive. I'm going to get this on a train, get the train heading down towards Flint, and then we can actually take a look at some of the other stuff that's going on the layout. Some stuff going on elsewhere. Man, I'm getting all tongue-tied. So I said, Lake State owns all of this and still operates this. Roundhouse is still here. Fortunately, the only Lake State locomotives I have downloaded are broken, and they appear as Union Pacific locomotives. Like, even if I open up the paint, like if I open them up for edit and I go into their texture settings, they show as Lake State. There's no reference to this UP paint scheme, but they load a UP paint scheme. And I'm like, that's weird. So, let's actually just... So the way I'm going to operate this is I'm going to operate it with iPortals. So I'll be, sending trains from industries to other players and stuff. All right, is it this button? So yeah, because I don't have any Lake State locomotives, I just put some other I went there. Some other short line, some Great Lakes Central, some Tuscola and Saginaw Bay, some DeLore, Gore and Dilapidated SW1s. And I do have a bunch of steam engines, some Père Marquette steam engines sitting there because why not? And currently it's telling us that our speed is 40 miles an hour. I'm being very, very cognizant of where you put a locomotive and it'll start. If you put the locomotives all right here and you start here, you will always... As soon as you pull off the turntable, hit a speed limit sign. I even have speed limit signs coming out on this track and on this track right here. So if you start out, if you build your own session on this, when I ever release this, if you put your own locomotives here, you will be at proper speed limit for pretty much the entirety of the route. Anywhere where I might have locomotives start out, like engine shops, like these tracks here, speed limits are at that switch. So it'll say 40 here because that's the default speed, but then as soon as you clear that switch, you're set for your speed. I'm going to throw that switch. And let's actually just jump ahead. This is the only train simulator that I play that I will play with the rail driver, which I got working in cab mode, with third-person view, because the cabs and trains are, I mean, this is okay. This is okay of a cab. But like none of this stuff really works. But yeah, I like outside view, and you know I do a lot of switching in this, and even when I'm playing like Run 8, when I'm doing switching, I'll be in fly mode. So yeah, I've been working on this route for a long time. It is by far one of my favorite routes. Uh, just because operations are fairly simple, but also very complicated. They're simple in that you've got a couple of yards and you don't really have to worry about a whole bunch of weird branch lines going everywhere, but they're complicated enough that you have locals that are going to take you multiple hours to run. And because this route is to scale, to get this train from Saginaw to Flint at track speed, and I actually have I had it and I set it down somewhere. I moved it out of the way because I wanted to put my camera or my rail driver up. Here it is. I have my timetable from 1987, an actual engineer timetable from 1987. So the speeds probably aren't, 100% correct and everything, but they're good enough for me. Some of the milepost information stuff is probably incorrect. It's or it's changed, but it's good enough for me, and that's what I've been using to measure my speeds and putting down milepost markers. I've got all kinds of information. I got Google Maps on one screen. I've got Trainz on another, and I've got a whole like book thing sitting over there, an actual like chart. We're gonna grab the cars from this track, and they're just gonna run an empty. We're gonna get an empty coal train going down to Flint. Once it's rolling, then I'm speeding because I'm going 12 miles an hour. One of the things I love about train sims is you can get away with doing little things like that, and you're not in big major trouble. It's like, oh, I went a couple miles an hour over speed limit. You have to remember, I'm also recording this video, not streaming it, so I have to not treat it like a stream. So we're gonna tie onto these cars here, and then we're gonna just kind of fly along and just look at some of the progress that's been made so far. This yard here, Saginaw yard here, took me about 3 days to build. It was a lot of what I did is I put all the track in real rough, and all the switches and everything just looked nasty. And I sat down and I went one section at a time, straightening it out. So it looks a little wonky here. This is as close to what I could see from Google Earth as I could make it. So Google, the real thing probably looks a little different. It's probably a little tighter or whatever, but it's also as close to what I can get within the limitations of the tools available and my own patience. I could probably spend another 3-4 days just fine-tuning some of the elements of this yard. And putting down 1,000 more spline points and making 100,000 more adjustments to track height and angles and positions to get it 100% spot on. But I'm not getting paid to do this, so I'm not going to, put that level of effort in. And oh, come on. We're almost there. Good joint. All right. Let's just quickly go to map view because I want to see which place I want to put this. Because I'm going to be running this thing like, per at least, late 2000s. Or not late, early 2000s? CWY SY4, okay. Early 2000s, late 90s. I'm going to be, SY4, CWY SY. So, because I'm running it more like how it runs in the real world back in the 2000s, I will be running it as two separate railroads. Trains will stop and terminate in Flint, and then a different railroad will take it up to Saginaw. And I have eye portals going north out of Saginaw in multiple different locations. And I swallowed the wrong way, or inhaled the wrong way. So while this train gets rolling, let's actually take a little bit of a look here at Saginaw Yard. And again, this is going off of a track book that I have, a actual digital elevation map that I generated using Trainz, and staring until my eyes were crossed at Google Maps or Google Earth. And there's still some areas that I might come back and tweak, like this switch. It's looking a little wonky. Maybe I'll come back and tweak that. But we got all of these tracks here. I titled this the South Yard, and actually I think it's because my book even refers to this area as the South Yard. And not all of these tracks are through tracks, so operators have to be a little cognizant that you got two tracks here that are stub-ended tracks. That you can't make a runaround move on those tracks. So you might not want to use those ones, or maybe you do. You'll figure it out. It's up to you. We got some empty tracks here. Now I did fill this up, and I do intend to, as iPortal sessions start up, once I get to that point, really filling this yard full of trains ready to go out. I hope to crash the computer. And then we have this yard over here. Why did I call this South Yard? I think it's also South Yard. Don't have anything in here, but this is going to be kind of another one of those yards where you got to watch out. You got some stub-ended yard tracks. You got one there and one here, so maybe not use those stub-ended tracks. And then the line actually goes out this way, and if I remember correctly, this line is kind of a branch line or whatever, or I forget what line this goes to. One of them's weird. There's another yard over here that I'm going to have to build at some point, but it's one of those things, it's an ancillary thing. It's like after the rest of everything's done, then I'll start moving north out of here. Going down this way again, back, through downtown Saginaw. This track is definitely going to be, or this line's definitely going to have a lot of work done on it. It's going to go up along here like it's supposed to. But right now it just ends right here with an eye portal. It'll go further north and then to an eye portal as well. This line goes off this way. This bridge is an actual bridge that works. This is, again, as close as what I can get. Just kind of quick and dirty. I'll come back eventually and clean this up and make it look much better and actually put water in the river. But again, another eye portal over here just to extend it off. And I keep saying eye portal. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, in Trainz, eye portals allow you to send a train from one user to another user. It can be from one route on your computer to another route on your computer. It can be from you to your friend on the other side of the country. There are obviously limitations on that, like, you all have to have the same content and you both have to be online at the same time and yada, yada, yada. But, so let's go a little further down this train. Yeah, he's got that switch all lined up. This is another line where, this is interesting because I had to study this for a long time. This is going to be an interesting one to try and work because this is a dead-end track here and it goes off there. But these are both industries that, as far as I can tell, are kind of still in service. This one looks like it was in service, but which one was this? Timber Roots. It looks like it was still getting rail service. Like the tracks are still there. There weren't any cars, so I set this one up to consume very little product. So you'll spot a couple of center beam loaded cars there with lumber, and it'll just slowly eat them away. This one I could still see, at least if I recall. In fact, let me just pull it up on Google Maps real quick. Tri-State Lumber. That's what it is. I believe Tri-State Lumber still had a center beam car there from Google Earth View. Oh, no, it didn't. I thought it did. Well, at any rate, those industries are there. You don't have to serve them, but they're there just in case you want to. Continuing a little bit further south, and this is going to be a little bit of a long video. I should have said that at the beginning. We got 4-track bridge here. This is just an auxiliary storage track. These These grade crossings will trigger and cars will stop, but these are disabled grade crossings. They don't actually flash. Actually, these ones do flash. I don't know why they're turned sideways. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, that one's weird. I don't know why they're turned sideways. This line is the line that goes off, and there's another eye portal right here. Yep, there's the eye portal. LRC East. Continuing a little further south, this yard ends. We got some more storage space here, and then it's pretty much just quote-unquote main line. And this is prototypical, having a signal right here with the track bowing out like that. Our AI driver's picking up, doing 20 miles an hour, or 14 and a 20. He's about to pass 35. Of course, he'll actually be able to go 35 when his last car goes. I'm using the TBS grade crossing setup. I really like them. Unfortunately, they were a $5 pack. I'm probably going to change them to something else once something free pops up in the deals. They don't have bells. The bells, for whatever reason, aren't working, and I contacted TBS a while ago about it, and they're like, well, actually, they didn't even say anything. This is like a little trick that I like doing, laying out some old track like this. As far as I can tell, there was this industry here. It's gone now. Dixie cut stone here. Switch 6, as you can tell, all of them are lined up. I've been modifying a lot of PL industries. I'm just checking because I actually don't think this industry. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna I'm not gonna. It's there. I'm not gonna put a industry track for them just because I'm looking at it right now on Google Maps and it's like they have like a pile of bricks. Like they have an unloading pit. There's a bunch of stuff built up around said unloading pit. So like they've stacked a bunch of crates and stuff. So yeah, as Bridgeport, I did just a light little bit of scenery. Nothing's permanent or hard set on this. It's just make it look good. Just to take a break from laying track and building crossings and stuff. Again, bridge here. It's probably gonna change. A strip of old rail laying there. Again, stuff's gonna change, but like the way this is set up with this cantilever and this signal here, that's as far from Google Street View, what I can tell, or accurate. Now, yeah, there's a little kink right here. Again, little things to be taken care of. Primary goal right now is just to get the track in, the signals in, and these grade crossings in. Like the roads just go, a little ways off, and I've gotten a little bit of, got to do this and fix that. Actually, this is it's a piece of scenery just for fun. I put some telegraph poles there, electric lines there just for fun. Again, this is Google Earth accurate. Defect detector. And it does, if you look right there, that's actually one of the ones that does read off at you. Another grade crossing. Now, like I said, to go from Saginaw to Flint is about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to get there. So we're not going to follow that train. That's why I'm not sitting on that cab ride. I'll probably do like a full cab ride video once everything's done. Again, this is prototypical. Little farm grade crossing here. This one doesn't actually stop traffic because there is no traffic on that little road. But if you see a grade crossing with cars driving across it, traffic should, I say it should stop for it. Continuing on. And these signals are red because Trainz makes the signals red until a train's about approaching it, and then it'll change it. Continue on. And then I know it. I'm about to give you the information that I do is I do map view 26. So because all of these are numbered, see, it says 26 and 26 and whatever. I have those also. Those also correlate to a map on, or correlate to pins on my map on Google Earth, and I can just quickly teleport. This is Birch Run. Hey, Birch Run used to have a lot more here, and they just have these two stub tracks now where they used to have a grain elevator, I believe, that was right there. From what I can tell, there was some freight shed or something there, possibly a grain elevator, and then a lot more industrial stuff, but it's all gone now. So, I think this track is still sort of here. You can kind of see it, at least if you tell Google Maps to go back to like 98 or later. The era that I'm doing this in is roughly 90s to 2000s, so it'll be a little out there. Another grade crossing, more grade crossings. This is one of the places where a freeway was this 23 US 23. It's not US 23. It's I-75. I-75 US 23, because this is where the two freeways merge. Weirdly. Continuing down the line. Some of this I kind of had to wing because there's an area where my book is missing like 4 pages. Or missing 1 or 2 pages. Once again, just a little bit of flavor, scenery there. Yeah, Trainz doing 50 now, or 45. He's in a 50 zone. So good on him. Again, this is, like roads clipping through. I'm gonna make some adjustments here. So continue on. So these two signals here are actually Google Street View accurate. I went to Street View and I could see that both of them were boom, 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 boom. Let's continue going down the line here a little bit. And if I didn't do a good enough editing job, you saw that. Got to fix this. Some floating track here. A lot of little things. I'm just getting the grade crossings and the track in and working first. That's my first priority. This is the first switch coming into Flint. Old Industries over here. This outer track here is actually the yard lead. This is an auxiliary yard lead. And then this is, actually this is the passing setting. This is the main, if I remember correctly. And then we got McGrew Yard here. This yard will eventually be full. Actually, this is Coldwater Yard. This yard will be full of stuff. Right now I just put a couple cars in here just to fill it up a little bit. And I got a bunch of locomotives sitting here ready for pulling trains. And a little high rail truck sitting there. So eventually I'll fill this yard up during operations. And then this will kind of be just an auxiliary area. I do have a little industry here that takes a couple coal hoppers. So if anyone ever sends me coal hoppers on like a mixed freight just randomly, I'm like, I'll go there. Because again, this is going to be a route used for iPortaling. And eventually I may, there's a very real possibility I will be releasing it. This is something I got to fix right here. This track speed has to be changed. And I kind of want to tighten this up just a little bit. This is a little too zigzaggy for my taste, but it's fine for now. Trains can run through it. That's all that matters. We can start operations. This is another grade crossing area where I'm going to have to do some tweaking. I'm happy with it, but I'm not. And then we go along here. Another grade crossing. And then this is AC Delco. I'm on the fence about building it. I kind of want to build it, but also kind of don't. It's a lot of fun to work, but it's also a pain in the butt to build and a pain in the butt to work. So that's one of those things that's maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And we do have an industry here. These two industries are actually one industry. It's 2 industry tracks, but one industry name. Got the Flint subdivision crossing here, and this is set up with boats ASB, ABS, whatever, signal controller. I just can't bring that menu up. So I'll have some portals down here that will randomly generate a CN train to crisscross the line here, just to generate some random traffic. Or I might even actually have, an iPortal set up on there just for fun. But it does interlock with all of these diamonds properly. And then this is another freeway bridge. Of course, gotta build that, but I'm not going to right now. Another grade crossing. It functions. Another one that functions. They all function. And then this is Atwood Yard. I just made, today I made a big change to this yard. I gotta do a little tweaking to some of these tracks. They do actually, from what I can tell, they container load trash here. So I do have an industry track right there that does do the container loading of that. I think there's supposed to be a couple tracks here that I left out that I'm going to have to put in. Now that I figured out that this track actually connects here, and that's how they get into there. This I changed up today to match more of the prototype, and I got to kind of tweak all of this still, but it's in and it's working. So there's definitely going to be some tweakage going on there. And then, of course, the GM plant down here, this will be a lot of fun. This is probably going to be its own, switch job when I'm all done with it. Because we do have a track here that loads. I'm going to change up some of these buildings. These tracks here will load. And I think this track will probably be empty, but this will just be auxiliary track. This used to be a lot larger complex, and a lot of the track is gone. In fact, I think even now most of this yard is overgrown. But this was a lot of work to get this looking like it does now, which I think looks pretty good. There's obviously this track here needs some tweaking, and maybe tweak this here. Definitely fix this, but it's in and it works. And I was like, I got to a point where I'm like, nope, no more, pulling my hair out. Continuing on, more grade crossings at work. This is the whole yard lead for all of that. And because I'm using the TRC crossings, we don't have the same problems we used to have with the ATLS, where it would just randomly shut off on you. My favorite movie theater, the Trillium, is right here. It's right in this area. Still love that movie theater. It's been so long since I've been back to Michigan. That's another thing that's really hard about working on this, is because I'm originally from Michigan, and I now live in Nevada, and I'm building a Michigan route, and I have to go into Google Earth all the time and go into Street View working on this. I get really homesick working on this route.
8.8 defects. Hot dogs. Axle 221 defects. Hot dogs. Axle 221. Detector out.
Well, you can take care of it. And then this is the Newark. I misspelled that. Gotta fix that. Siding here. And then right here, you'll notice, right over this grade crossing, it's right. We're at 2 yellow signal offsets. And the whole idea is they stop the train a little bit back behind this signal, because right about here are the triggers that once you cross these triggers before you cross this signal, you've occupied the diamond and holly, because I have another one of those boat ASB triggers. And the tracks do undulate up and down because I am following the contour of the land. I am making sure that it's never more than about a 1.5. It's about a 1% grade up and down through most of this. There's a couple areas where it's 1.2% grade. Intermediate signal there. And then, I forgot to take this locomotive off the track. I put this locomotive here because I was going to run it to test the grade crossings going through Holly, and I totally forgot. We got Delta Tube here. 3 separate industry tracks. They do load plastic pipe and other metal pipe and other metal finishings, machinery stuff. Grange Hall Road. There's a subway. Funniest thing. So, little story time. There's a subway in this plaza right here. Right here, there's a Wendy's. Now, a buddy of mine years and years ago, he worked at this Wendy's. He did not know that this Subway was here. One day, we're hanging out. We're like, oh, I really want some Subway. And he's like, oh, I don't want to go all the way into Grand Blanc for Subway. And he's like, and I'm like, what do you mean? There's a Subway in Holly. No, there isn't. I'm like, yeah, there is. It's right across the street from Wendy's. What? And we drove there, and he's like, I didn't know this was here. And I'm like, dude, you worked right here at Wendy's, and you didn't know that was across. And he's like, no, I'm like, you had to have You saw it. You could see the Wendy's from the front, or the subway from the front counter of Wendy's. Anywho, continuing on, going a little further. Now we're in downtown Holly. Right, right here is right in this plaza of buildings here. I think it's actually right here is the Detroit Model Railroad Club. Fantastic little model railroad club right in downtown Holly. 2-rail O scale. If you're ever in the area, check it out when they're open. And this is about as far as I've gotten so far. Like I said, it's really hard for me to work on this because I'll work on it for like an hour or two, or a couple hours, or a couple days, and then I'm just like, all right, I'm burnt out. I want to do something else, and then I don't come back to it for like 3 or 4 months. So what I'm going to try doing, and just real quick to cover some of the stuff here. This is not at all like I just put the track here just to get it in. My goal was to get at least to here, to get to Holly. I wanted to get Holly done today. Track and grade crossing wise, obviously that's not going to happen because I'm recording this video and then I'm going to call it a night for Trainz and go play some other stuff. But so yeah, we've got I've just got this roughed in, and I'm going to go through and make the measurements proper, get everything proper. But so yeah, as I was saying, I'm going to probably, so on Friday nights I stream Run 8. What I'm going to probably do is Sunday nights stream working on this, and I'm going to try and stick to that, and I hope somebody hounds me about it. And probably once a month do a video similar to this where I go shorter, obviously, because this is now a 40-minute video. Obviously much shorter, just kind of covering what wasn't covered in the stream, maybe once a month. Once a month, do just a quick update on this. I can't give a solid time frame. I made that mistake when I first started this project of saying, oh, by November I'll have everything done. And it was like November 2 years later when I said, guys, I'm giving up on this project. So yeah, that's been kind of an overview of the Saginaw Subdivision 2020 project that I've been working on. I keep changing its name because it was the Saginaw Subdivision 2017, 2018 is when I started this version of it, which has kind of has been started like 3 times because it corrupted itself multiple times. So what I always do is like, all right, I did some work, I saved it, I'm going to back up what I saved just in case. But anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around. Sundays on Twitch, link in description. We'll be working on this route. You can come in, check it out, hang it out. Sundays, 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's 10 Eastern. I know that's a little late for most of you guys. I work weekends, so that's actually pretty early for me. Until then, I will catch you guys later. Again, thank you for watching. Laters.